Welcome to the part 2 of the third session of the Gita course, the online Gita course. If you can hear me nicely and if you can also see me nicely, then please raise your hands so that I can understand. Thank you very much. And with this, I would like to quickly share my screen and then begin the discussion for the day. Okay. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram. So we'll have some short kirtan and then we will proceed for the day. Until then, others can also try to join. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Vishesha Shunyavadi Paschapya Deshatarine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Vishesha Shunyavadi Paschapya Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari 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 Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Jaya Girivaradhari Jaya Girivaradhari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Jaya Girivaradhari Jaya Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira वनचारी जय राधा माधवा कुंज बिहारी हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे युग धर्म हरिनाम संकीर्तन यज्ञ की जय. Okay, very happy to have all of you in today's session, and we will begin by obviously chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. I'm very happy to have all of you back again. And this is the Gita course. The title for today's session is Root Cause Analysis, or Why Do I Suffer? And the root cause analysis of that suffering. And this session is dedicated to His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, who is the founder Acharya of the International Society for Krishna Consciousness, commonly known as ISKCON, and who is also my spiritual grandfather. And everything which we speak here in these sessions, basically we have learned from Prabhupada, and whatever I speak, whatever I try to present is what I've learned from him and my seniors. So before beginning this session, let's try to chant some pranam mantras so that we can invoke the blessings and the permissions of our seniors and the acharyas. These pranam mantra PDF was circulated in the WhatsApp groups. So I'll request all of you to open that and chant along with me as a matter of practice. And then in 1 or 2 sessions, you'll be able to quickly learn it. Om Jnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtham Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guruho Shri Yutapadakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhan Vitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Deenabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanusute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhaktavrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamin iti namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangam Langhayate Girim Yatkripa Tamaham Vande Shri Gurum Dinatarinam Paramananda Madhavam Shri Chaitanya Ishwaram Harihi Om Tat Sat. So welcome all of you to the wonderful session of this online Gita course. And this is a very, very important session, but there was quite a lot of content in this session, and we thought that it is very important that we take proper amount of time to discuss and explain this. So therefore, we divided this session in two parts. The agenda for today, that is part 2 of the first session, is we'll obviously quickly revise what was done in part 1. And then there are various causes of suffering, as highlighted in the previous session: the attachment to temporary things, the attitude of comparison, the sinful activities. These are the 3 causes of suffering. In the previous session, that is part 1, we discussed in detail the attachment to temporary things. And today we are discussing the attitude of comparison and how this attitude of comparison and sinful activities is basically a cause of our suffering. These last 2 causes we will analyze. And of course, this session also will have a practical tip that can make our life happy. However, even before I begin, today is a very, very auspicious day for various reasons. One of the reasons why is it auspicious is that all of us have assembled here to do Hari Katha and Hari Kirtan, discuss the Bhagavad Gita, and chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Another reason why today's day is very auspicious is today is Ekadashi. Ekadashi is the day of Lord Hari. So the Shastra says, Madhava Tithi Hari Bhakti Janani. So the Bhagavad Gita describes, the 17th chapter, it describes that austerities should be done only for the purpose of pleasing the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Even people like Hiranyakashipu also did some austerities, but that was not pleasing to Krishna. So therefore, that was demonic austerity. But whenever we do some tapasya, some japa, some tapa, some vrata, or some austerity for the purpose of pleasing Krishna, that is Hari Bhakti Janani, Madhav Tithi Hari Bhakti Janani. So there are various Madhav Tithis like Janmashtami, like Gaur Purnima, Radha Ashtami, and Balram Purnima, and so on and so forth. Many days are like that, Vaman Dwadashi, and all the appearance day of the incarnations of Lord Krishna. When we do any kind of japa, tapa, or vrata on these days, it has a very, very solid impact on our spiritual life. What happens? Hari Bhakti Janani. So one who observes days like Ekadashi, especially Ekadashi, the creeper of devotion, the seed of devotion which you are getting from this Gita course right now becomes a creeper in your heart, and then it starts growing and growing and growing. Hari Bhakti Janani. So if we want to advance in Krishna consciousness sincerely, then it is very, very helpful if we observe Ekadashis. It's very simple to observe an Ekadashi. The only restriction is chant at least 2 to 4 rounds of Hare Krishna Mahamantra and avoid grains on this day. So one can eat fruits, one can eat roots, one can eat milk, and one can, on the website of ISKCON's, various websites of ISKCON, there are so many Ekadashi recipes available. If the hunger is too much, one can cook something and eat also. But however, one has to fast from grains and one has to chant more. Chant the Hare Krishna Mahamantra at least 4 rounds on Ekadashis. Read a chapter of Bhagavad Gita, recite a chapter of Bhagavad Gita. And the best thing which you could do on an Ekadashi is to come in a gathering where Hari Katha and Hari Kirtan is being discussed. So today is an Ekadashi and all of you are here, all of us are here, and we are discussing Krishna consciousness, Krishna conscious topics. This is the best thing which we could have done on any Ekadashi. So congratulations to all of you for having nicely engaged yourself on an Ekadashi. And with this, we begin today's discussion. So we saw, this is the recapitulation. We saw what are the causes of suffering. We saw that, I'm just trying to revise what we have covered. So we saw that people always keep thinking that the problem which they have at hand is the biggest problem. And if they could only solve this, then life would become happily ever after. But then what happens is basically this problem gets replaced by another problem, and then that problem which has newly come into our life becomes the biggest problem of our life. And in this way, it is a never-ending series. We compared this to having bath in a sea where the waves keep coming. And if you brave the sea waves, and if you're very proud about it, that I'm braving the sea waves so nicely, better than anybody else, then basically we are fools, because the sea waves are endless. Intelligence lies in coming out of the sea and sitting on the sea beach and reading the Bhagavad Gita. So in that analogy, we compared it. People are struggling. They are not understanding the root cause because they are thinking that if I solve this problem, then I'll be happy. But they forget that the design of this material world is dukhalayam, ashashvatam, anityam, asukham. It is a dukhalaya. It is meant for giving misery to people. That is how the design of this material world is. Are you able to hear me properly? Is the voice and audio quality clear? Okay, thank you. Please lower your hands now. I'll keep checking in between. So the causes of suffering we saw was attachment to temporary things, attitude of comparison, and committing wrong acts. And we saw how attachment is a cause of suffering. We saw this wallet example where we discussed that if we don't have any money and if our friend comes and gives us some money and he says, I'll take back in 1 week, we have no problem. But then in case if we win a lottery, we become so much attached to this money that we feel bad when it is taken away or if it is lost. In both the cases, friend coming and giving and lottery coming and giving, we'd have done nothing to get that money. But still, in one case, we get attached. In one case, we don't get attached. And because we get attached, so we suffer so much. And then we saw that how it is very important to understand that the body is temporary and we should act on the platform of permanent things. Arjuna was giving patch-up solutions. I think one of the second session was patch-up solution of perfect solutions. Arjuna was being attached to temporary things and therefore he was giving patch-up solutions. And it is at this point that Krishna brings in the concept of body and soul so that Arjuna can understand what is his duty. He was a statesman. He could not have avoided his duty in the name of family members or brothers and uncles and son-in-laws and father-in-laws and teachers standing in front of him. He couldn't have avoided his call of duty based on temporary bodily attachments. This is what we understood. We also took a poll that how many of you feel that attachment is bad, and almost all of you said that yes, it is bad. But then we ultimately understood that some amount of attachment may be necessary, but however, attachment to temporary things is a cause of suffering. In the question answer session on Tuesday, a question was asked that if we don't have any attachment, how will we function? If I'm not attached to my children, how will we function? So in detail, we answered that question. So I would not like to revisit that. Those who have missed it, please go and see that. I think it's question number 2 or 3, which I have answered. So we basically understood that getting attached to temporary things is like investing in a bank which has already given the pink slip, which has already declared its bankruptcy. And then we compared this to our body. The moment we took birth, at that moment, the death is decided. Death is like a bullet which has been shot the moment we have breathed our first breath. And that bullet is coming towards us. We cannot avoid it or we cannot deflect it also. So it's already shot. So if we invest so much in the body, and if we lose the eternal soul, then it is a complete loss. This is what we understood. And then we saw this wonderful shloka, Dehino yasmin yatha dehe kaumaram yovanam jara, tatha dehantara praptir dhiras tatra muhyati. 2.13. This was the pivot shloka of that session, where we understood the difference between body and soul. And we saw how every 7 years the body is changing. So technically speaking, we change our body every 7 years. We have a different body, but still we feel that we are the same person. And what is that object which causes us to feel that we are the same person? That object is basically the soul. That is what we understand. And then we saw there are 2 kinds of body, 3 kinds primarily. One is the spirit body, spirit soul, that is the spiritual body. Then is the subtle body, which comprises mind, intelligence, and false ego. And then is the gross body. And then we saw that gross body and subtle body, they are external energies of Krishna. We also took a poll to understand what is the difference between body and mind. And we clearly concluded that if simply we are talking about peace of mind, some pranayam, some yoga, some pranvayu and good health, these are not strictly speaking spiritual subject matter. Spiritual subject matter deals with the soul. If there is a pseudo spiritual organization which only talks about peace of mind or harmony of good health and things like that, then that is actually not spiritual. Spiritual means to pertaining to the spiritual subject matter, like what is the soul, where does it come from, what is the next destination of the soul, what are the challenges which the soul is facing, how the soul is covered by the subtle body and the gross body, what is the meaning of liberation, how to come out of the cycle of birth and death. These are spiritual subject matters. And most importantly, being a spirit soul, what is my dharma? My dharma is to serve the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Shri Krishna, Jivera Swarup Hai Krishna Nityadas, and rekindling my lost relationship with Krishna is the main purpose of my existence. Having attained this human form of life, if I fail to do this, then it is like knowingly I have eaten poison. That is why the Brahma Sutras, the first line of the Vedanta says, Athato Brahma Jigyasa. It means, okay, now that you have got this human form of life, inquire about the Supreme. Athato Brahma Jigyasa. So, and then we talked a little bit about false ego. I came to know that many of you liked this photo. Some of you made it your WhatsApp status and profile pics. So I also like this photo so much. But then we understood that this false ego is also one of the biggest hurdles in our spiritual life. And then we understood, or basically we talked in few shlokas from the Bhagavad Gita, the characteristics of the spirit soul and how the soul is exactly opposite to that of the body, the characteristics. So we saw that it is indestructible, immeasurable, eternal, and the soul keeps changing the bodies. According to Ayurveda, this body is made up of Vata, Pitta, and Kapha. So a balance of Vata, Pitta, and Kapha keeps the body in a working condition. However, when the balance becomes imbalanced to such a degree that it cannot be brought back to balance, then the soul gives up that body and goes and attains a new body based on the karma which it has performed and based on the consciousness which it had at the time of death. So transmigration of soul, this is being discussed. And we saw that this body is nothing but a yantra, a machine. Living entity may think, or a person may think that they are independent, but actually they are not independent. They are completely shackled and gripped by the laws of material nature. I had read somewhere a statement which a little bit made sense to me. They said that karma is a restaurant where there is no menu. So you enter the restaurant of karma, you cannot order anything from the menu card. What you deserve will be served to you. So based on the desires which you have had, which we have cultivated consciously, based on the consciousness which we had at the time of death, based on the karmic account balance which we have, the material nature fashions for us a new kind of body in which we are allowed to pursue the same tendencies which we had in the previous lifetime in a better way. I gave an example. If somebody is very fond of sleeping, then they'll be given the body of a polar bear or a grizzly bear where they can sleep for 6 months together in one shot. Similarly, if somebody eats a lot of non-vegetarian food stuff, then they'll end up becoming a tiger or a lion. And then they will suffer in the body of a tiger or a lion for some time, although they'll be able to enjoy meat eating in a better way. But that enjoyment is also not good. We all know that even if you become a tiger, the whole jungle knows that there is a tiger and the whole jungle is careful. And the tiger starves and starves for weeks together until it gets its morsel of food. And then we also, I think we discussed that, various ways in which the material nature works, we discussed that. And then we compared that the body is destructible, change just like we change clothes, and it's just like a vehicle. And the soul is completely opposite. It just like a cloth, it cannot be cut into pieces or by any weapon or burned by fire or moistened by water or withered by wind. Soul is the finest element in the entire creation. Actually, I'll give you a detail. In the Srimad Bhagavatam, it is explained what is the dimension of the soul. It is said that if you take a hair from your head, and if you divide the tip of that hair into 100 parts, and then you take 100th part of the tip of your hair, and then that 100th part of the tip of the hair, you divide it into further 100 parts. That means 1/10,000th part of the tip of your hair of your head is the size of a soul. So just imagine the potency and the power of a spirit soul. The same small, you cannot even call atomic, it is infinitesimal spirit soul. The same spirit soul is there in the body of a blue whale also, in the body of a mosquito also, in your body also, in my body also, in the body of Brahma also, in the body of amoeba also. So the same spirit soul has so much potency that this infinitesimally small spirit soul, when it goes into the body of a blue whale, it is moving that blue whale also. And when it goes into the body of Brahma, it is moving the body of Brahma also. So that is the power of spirit soul. Why is it so powerful? Because it is a part and parcel of Krishna. The spirit soul can be compared to a spark, and Krishna can be compared to the fire. The moment the spark comes out of the fire, it loses its existence. However, as long as it is in contact with the fire, it is glorious. And then we talked about reincarnation. We understood that we basically discussed this topic to establish or substantiate the fact that soul exists. And then we saw the common language in which we speak about when a person dies. And then we saw the example of this Deep Kapadia, Professor Deep Kapadia. And we saw that how, although his previous body would have been burnt, all the brain, liver, kidney, everything would have burnt. However, he is able to remember everything from the previous lifetimes. That means there is a subtle body, which at the time of death carries the spiritual soul, the spirit soul, to the next body based on Daiva Netrena, based under the direction or the guidance of the higher agencies of this universe or the higher arrangement of this universe. Then we heard about the statements by Ian Stevenson. We also talked a little bit about near-death experience. And finally, we discussed the practical tip of the day, which was become attached to Krishna. An attachment to Krishna means it is the solution to all problems of life, because the moment one gets attached to Krishna, there are two byproducts of attachment to Krishna: knowledge and detachment, jnana and vairagya. Vasudeva bhakvati bhakti yoga prayojitah janati ashu vairagyam jnanam cha yad ahetukim. This is the statement of Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 2. Vasudeva bhagvati bhakti yoga prayojitah janatya ashu vairagyam jnanam cha yad ahetukim. So anybody who has dedicated themselves to the chanting of Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, and he or she is worshipping the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna or Vasudeva, then the moment this process of devotional service starts, even without making any extra endeavor, automatically the byproduct of bhakti is knowledge. Now, knowledge is different from data. Knowledge, one gets true transcendental knowledge, which is a result of the purification of heart. And automatically detachment comes. Detachment means detachment from temporary things. This detachment is the symptom of attachment to Krishna. So if somebody gets attached to Krishna, they will automatically be detached from everything else. And when somebody gets attached to Krishna, then they are not elated in happiness, nor they are depressed in misery. And they are able to tolerate all the onslaughts of life in a very, very humble attitude. So in this way, we concluded the session by discussing the holy name, the importance of the holy name of Krishna, and how the Yuga Dharma is the chanting of the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. And finally, we chanted. And then we ended up with something interesting. We gave a homework. We gave a verse to memorize, 7 days to memorize one verse of Bhagavad Gita. We requested you to answer the quiz, and we also requested you to chant one round of Hare Krishna Mahamantra daily. My question to you is, how many of you could do your homework? I've launched a small poll. Take some 30 seconds and try to answer this question. Take another 10 seconds, please. Okay, thank you. Not all have yet voted. I'll give another 15 seconds, requesting all to cast your vote until unless you're facing a technical difficulty. Please cast your vote. Otherwise, we don't know what's the problem and why people are not able to do. Okay. Thank you very much for your voting. I will share the results now. So the results are as follows. Around 33% of you did it. I thank all of you from the bottom of my heart, and I pray for all of you unto the lotus feet of Sri Radha and Krishna, that they may bless you and cast their choicest blessings upon you and your family. Those who tried, I also pray for you from the bottom of my heart, that you may progress in Krishna consciousness. And if you have any problems, please get back to us. Those who have a desire that they will do from this week, thank you very much for understanding the importance of doing this activity. As we progress in our journey of education, until unless we have a little bit of discipline in us, we cannot access the higher rungs of knowledge, or we cannot access the higher elements of understanding. If we don't have this discipline of doing the homework, then we cannot basically understand what is being discussed in the session. We'll not be able to appreciate. At least the quiz takes only 5 minutes. You just answered, you have attended the class. Immediately after the class, the quiz is published. Please answer it. That will keep you revised. The whole session will be revised. I'll spend less time doing the recap, and in that way we'll all progress together. And those who have not done it, I request you, I entreat you to kindly take out some time and do this. Thank you very much. There's one point which I wanted to share. As far as chanting is concerned, the best time to chant the Hare Krishna Mahamantra is the Brahma Muhurta. One Muhurta is 48 minutes, and 2 Muhurtas before sunrise is the Brahma Muhurta. So let's say if we, on an average, say that 6 a.m. is the time the sun rises, then 4:30 to 6 or 4:30 to 6:15 is the time of Brahma Muhurta. The mind is very, very calm and composed at this point of time. Any activity done in this point of time, especially spiritual activity, when it's done in this point of time, yields maximum benefits. Just like an organization like Flipkart will never lose the Christmas month to do a big billion day sale, or any e-commerce will not lose. So similarly, anybody who is interested to advance spiritually should get up. I'm very carefully using the word should get up in the Brahma Muhurta. That means they have to sleep early and they have to get up in the Brahma Muhurta and they have to chant the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. The results are multifolds. They say, "Kam paise mein zyada vyapar." So I'm talking in a business language. So if we want to quickly progress in Krishna consciousness and quickly understand who am I and what am I meant for and who is Krishna and what is the purpose of life, and have a nice balance in my life, have an edge over everybody else, like by waking up, then we should really wake up and we should chant Hare Krishna. All the previous year students of this Gita course and some of my other students also, we all get together in the morning in a Zoom session and we chant Hare Krishna. Some people chant for 1 hour, some people chant for half an hour, some people chant for 2 hours. Like I sit and chant for 2 hours. And some people chant for 15 minutes based on their time availability. So I request those who are interested, You can also join this morning Zoom session where it gives you a push, where it gives you an association of devotees, where you're able to see basically others chanting, and then you also come and you make it a habit, and then you come and you chant, and in that way you begin your day. So for those who are interested, as an instructor, as a Gita course teacher, it is highly recommended from my side, because this is the best thing which you can do to engage yourself in a higher disciplinary format and relish the power of Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Control your mind, basically. Those who are interested to explore a world of meaningful happiness, please join this Brahma Muhurta chanting sessions, and we'll circulate the link. Those who are interested, they can join. However, as a matter of fact, if you ask my opinion as your teacher, I will suggest all of you should join. Just come, chant 1 round, 2 rounds. If you want to chant 50,000 rounds, no problem, sit and chant. But just come, absorb that sound vibration, absorb that association of devotees, just feel the transcendental power of the holy name, and then you can start your day. So with this, I would like to begin today's session. We are actually beginning now. That is part 2. Are you ready? If you're ready, then please raise your hands. Thank you. Thank you very much. Now you can please lower your hands. It is important for me to keep asking like this so that I know that all of you are listening to me or not. Okay, so the second cause of suffering is the attitude of comparison. Now, this is a kind of cancer which is very close to almost all our hearts. At least, why to speak about others? I'll speak about myself. At one point of time, I was really plagued by this cancer. And today I'm going to analyze it for all of you. And guess what? I'm also going to provide a solution to get rid of this cancer of the mind, which is the attitude of constant comparison. Don't go by the picture here. I couldn't find any better picture, so I put it here. But here I'm going to discuss an allegorical story. So there was a devotee, a materialistic devotee of Mother Kali. He wanted to be happy in life, but unfortunately his definition of happiness was misplaced. So he did a lot of austerities, he did a lot of rituals, and somehow he pleased Mother Kali, and Mother Kali appeared in front of him. And then she asked him, what do you want? So this man, he said, please give me a benediction so that whatever I want, I should be able to achieve it. Mother Kali smiled and she said, okay, Tathastu, you may get it. However, she added a clause. The clause which she added was, whatever you will get, your neighbor will get the double of it. But in the excitement of getting the benediction, this person couldn't hear the clause. So next day he got up and he desired, let me have a green colored Lamborghini car. So immediately the green colored Lamborghini car appeared. He was very happy. However, after having a ride, when he came back to his house to park it again, he saw that his neighbor has 2 green colored Lamborghini cars. Now immediately a change of emotion happened within him. He forgot the happiness which he had just experienced by having a Lamborghini car without having to work for it. He immediately forgot that happiness and he became completely gloomy and sad and morose and depressed. Why? Because the neighbor had 2 cars. And then after that, he immediately desired, let me have a very, very nice house. So by the mystical potency of Mother Kali, a very nice house appeared there. But then after some time, when he came out of his house, he saw that his neighbor had 2 such houses. So he again forgot the happiness of having a house without having to work for it. He was not at all satisfied with the house, but rather he was completely dissatisfied because his neighbor had 2 houses. This fellow, constantly he was asking for something and he was getting things in life based on his karmic account balance and based on the benedictions of Mother Kali. But he had no reason, or he did not know the art of being satisfied. So therefore, he was constantly comparing and comparing and comparing. And rather to speak precisely, his definition of happiness or his funda of happiness was completely shifted from what I have to the delta of difference between what I and what my neighbor has. So his happiness was primarily based on or shifted towards, okay, if I have something more than my neighbor, then I'll be happy. However, even if I have a white elephant with me, which obeys me and does everything for me, still, if my neighbor has two white elephants, I'll be unhappy. So this is the disease of the attitude of comparison. And this person became so morose, so depressed, that he ended up making a very, very stupid desire. He said, may I lose one of my eyes. Now, I think most of you are understanding why he made such a desire. So he made this wish, the wish came true, he lost one of his eyes, but then he saw his neighbor lost both his eyes. Now, at this point, he became happy. That, now my neighbor has lost both his eyes, I have lost only one eye, so I'm happy. So you see, this attitude of comparison is this cancer is such a big disease that it completely shifts our focus in life. It completely shifts the definition of happiness in life. And it makes us into a very, very obnoxious, abominable person. Now, I have a question for all of you. How many of you feel that life would have been much better if we hadn't had this problem of comparing all the time? There is a poll on your screen. Please take 30 seconds to answer this poll. Wow. I don't need to display the result of this poll. It's going completely one-sided. But this time I request everybody to vote, please. Take another 15 seconds. Okay, thank you very much for your polling. And these are the results. Around 93% of you feel that, yes, life would have been much better if this attitude of constant comparison, or if this habit of basing our definition of happiness on the delta between me and my neighbor, if this hadn't been there, then life would have been much simpler. That is what is being told here. So I'll stop sharing the results. Oh, sorry. I again ended up sharing it. So now I think all of you agree that this attitude of comparison is a real problem. Now, how many of you are ready to experience the solution to this problem, which we have been struggling with since many, many lifetimes? If you're ready for this, please raise your hands, and with all your heart, raise it, so that I may get an understanding that how many of you are eagerly waiting to get rid of this cancer of mind, which plagues almost everybody in the society. Thank you very much for your raising of hands. Please lower your hands now. And we now go towards the solution. This is from the third canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, 28th chapter, shloka number 2. Please listen to me very, very carefully. Swadharmacharanam shaktya vidharmacha nivartanam daivalalabdhena santosha atmavicharanachanam. The Srimad Bhagavatam says, one should execute his prescribed duties to the best of his ability and avoid performing duties not allotted to him. One should be satisfied with much gain, one should be satisfied with as much gain as he achieves by the grace of the Lord, and one should worship the lotus feet of the spiritual master. This shloka contains within it the solution to this attitude of comparison. Now I'll explain it how. It's hidden in plain sight, but once we discuss this, you will completely understand. First of all, it says Swadharman, Swadharma Charanam. That means I have to perform my duty based on my dharma. What is the dharma of salt? The dharma of salt is to be salty. Similarly, what is the dharma of sugar? The dharma of sugar is to be sugary. Similarly, what is the dharma of spirit soul? The dharma of spirit soul is service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna. Now, there is something called as Varnashram Dharma also. Chatur Varna Maya Shrishtam Guna Karma Vibhagashaha, Krishna says. Based on guna and karma, not on janma. Based on the karmic account balance which you've had from various lifetimes, and based on the tendencies, the guna, the characteristics which you have, you are sometimes classified as a Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, or Shudra. Now, one has to chant Hare Krishna, receive the Buddhi Yoga from the Lord under the guidance of Guru, Sadhu, and Shastra. One has to understand what is their Varna. And therefore, one has to act according to their nature. So when it says one should execute their prescribed duties, it really means that chant Hare Krishna, have a clear mind and a strong intelligence, and under the guidance of Guru and Sadhu and Shastra, understand what is your nature. One has to work according to the nature. Swadharman Acharanam. If I'm an accountant and if somebody puts me in the kitchen, I'll be miserable. So there is no point in slogging just because the society wants me to do it. There's so many people, they call me and tell me I'm doing something which I don't want to do. In my college days, generally we used to discuss, we are all DBPS, do because Papa said. So at least at that point of time, we used to do because Papa said. Somehow, because of lack of knowledge and ignorance, also because incomplete understanding of the self, we were not able to understand what is the purpose of life and what is our guna and what is our karma and what are we supposed to do. And then we used to slog and slog and slog. But please, Prabhujis and Matajis, my statement here to all of you is that work is not meant for the satisfaction of the society. Work is not meant for the satisfaction of my boss, as per se. Work is meant for the satisfaction of mind. My mind has been conditioned from many lifetimes for a particular guna and karma. And I have to understand what is my guna and karma under the guidance of Guru, Sadhu, and Shastra, with the potency of chanting of Hare Krishna Mahamantra. And therefore, I should act as per my own nature. So the first step to get rid of this plague of comparison is to act as per your nature. Swadharman Acharanam. And then next is Shaktya. How much you should work? What is the capacity? Shaktya. So one has to work according to your capacity. Not like somebody became a Mark Zuckerberg, so I will also work hard day and night, whether I have the, provision in my destiny to become a Mark Zuckerberg or not, I don't care. But I'll work hard and hard and hard and hard and hard, and ultimately I'll get frustrated, pass on the frustration to my family. I'm being paid for 8 hours, but I'm working 18 hours every day. That is not an ideal life. An ideal life means work 100% of your capacity. Do not work 90%. Do not work 110%. Work only 100%. Now, generally, different people have different mentalities. A lazy person will think that, why should I do? Everybody is getting salary, let them do. A crazy person thinks, why am I not being able to do this? Everybody is able to do this. Why am I not being able to do this? I should slog and slog and slog so that I should be able to do it. Why? Because Papa wants me to do it. Society wants me to do it. Boss wants me to do it. Another complex is inferiority complex, where somebody is thinking, oh, I cannot do it. Then they are depressed, lack of confidence. Another problem is superiority complex. They unfortunately, they think that they can do everything. They can do really everything. And such people, they are very proud, arrogant. Such people generally don't have any friends, true friends, and they simply try to boast all the time. So these are the various problems which come in our path when we talk about Shaktya, or the capacity to work. But again, under the guidance of Guru, Sadhu, and Shastra, anybody who chants Hare Krishna, they will understand what is their capacity. So they should work according to their guna, karma, dharma, and they should work, they should give only 100% of their capacity. Please take note. If you give 150% of your capacity, your destiny is not going to change. Take it from me. The quota of happiness and distress is already fixed. If you work like anything, like a donkey, why am I using the word donkey? Because it is very, very appropriate here. A donkey works day and night just to get a little bit of grass, which is freely available on the streets also. I'll tell you the story of a donkey. So there were two donkeys. These two donkeys belonged to a washerman. And the washerman would load tons of clothes on these two donkeys, beat them up, and take them to the river, wash the clothes. And then after washing, the clothes become heavy. So with that heavy clothes, heavy burden, double the weight, they would come back, and then they would be given a little bit of grass. So one of the donkeys once said, why are we struggling and getting beaten up like donkeys every day? We get just a little bit of grass, which is easily available outside also. Why should we be with this dhobi? So the other donkey said, no, how can we live? If we don't stay with the dhobi, we'll not get our daily bread and butter and so many things. But that donkey said, don't worry. There are so many other horses, cows, buffaloes, and Krishna is providing them. Why will he not provide us a stupid donkey like me? So then that one of the donkeys left, ran away. And then after 6 months, this donkey returned to the previous donkey to say that, see, I've been away for 6 months. I'm not working for the dhobi. And you see that I'm healthy. I've had nice association. And Krishna has provided me every day some grass to eat. And I've not got any beatings also. What about you? So the other donkey, who had been still working and slogging more than its capacity, said, yes, you are right. You are the living proof that even if somebody does not work like a donkey, they can survive. So then the other donkey said, then why don't you join me? Why don't you come out? So then the first donkey said, yeah, actually, you're right. I would have come out with you. But then there is something, there is a reason why I'm staying back. So the second donkey asked, what's the reason? The first donkey said, actually, this master of mine who beats me 3 times a day has a daughter. And this daughter doesn't know how to cook properly. So when the washerman returns home, and when the daughter cooks and gives, and when the washerman doesn't like the food, then he scolds the daughter, saying that if you cook this kind of food again, I'll marry you to that donkey. So the first donkey said, I'm just waiting for that day when this washerman will marry me to her daughter. So I don't need to explain the kind of illusion in which donkeys stay. They are just, a small carrot is being hung in front of them, and they are just moving towards the carrot. The carrot also keeps moving. That is donkey life. That is why it is called as gadha. And anybody who is Shama eva hi kevalam, anybody who is simply laboring like anything, he's called as a gadha. And in India, gadha is a slang also. We say, hey, kya kar rahe ho gadhe? Somebody who does not understand their own nature, and somebody who works more than expected, slogs like anything, is being paid for 8 hours but working for 12 hours. That person is called as a gadha. According to our Gita course, all such people who work more than what they are meant to work for, they are all gadhas. So swadharman acharanam shaktya. Next is vidharma cha nivartanam. This is very, very important. Don't aspire to do others' duty, which means don't see what others are doing. This is the point where the attitude of comparison comes in. The first 2 points was building the ground for avoiding attitude of comparison. And third point actually refers to attitude of comparison. Vidharma cha nivartanam. Don't aspire to do others' duty. Sometimes I see that people want to do a particular profession because it is popular. That's all. This is the popular profession, so I will do it. Whether it suits me or not, whether I want to do it or not, whether it is as per my guna and karma or as per my shakti or not, I don't care. Because it is popular, so I want to do it. Some people want a higher position, although they are not capable of it. and then they fall into deep miseries because of that. And this is all because they don't know what is their guna and karma. They don't know what is their shakti. They don't have the knowledge or the guidance of Guru, Sadhu, and Shastra, and they constantly keep seeing what other is doing. Oh, he is a chartered accountant. He appears to be very happy, so I should also be a chartered accountant. This is the kind of discussions which happen in our society. Sharma ji ka ladka ye ban gaya, tum kyun nahi ban rahe? Tum bhi bano. Like that. And the last and the most important point is Deval Labdhena Santosha. Actually, this is the second last point. Be satisfied with whatever result, that which comes by the sanction of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna. I think all of you know that shloka. Karmanyeva vadhikaraste ma phaleshu kadachana. You have a right to perform your duty, but you have no right towards the result. In fact, at one point of time in the 11th chapter in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna a little bit shakes up Arjuna. That don't think that you are controlling the result of this battle. Even if you don't fight, I have already decided that all these people are going to die. Whether you fight or whether you don't fight, it is going to happen. However, since you are my devotee and since you are my friend, I want you to get the credit. Therefore, Nimit Matra Bhava Savya Sachin, just become my instrument and get the transcendental credit. This is what Krishna said. So Bhagavad Gita is a mystery. It can only be understood by those who are devotees of Krishna and those who are non-envious of Krishna. Sa evayam mayatedya yoga proktah puratanaha bhakto si me sakha cheti rahasyam me taduttamam. Bhagavad Gita chapter 4 shloka number 3. So it says, bhakto si me sakha cheti, one who is my devotee and one who is non-envious of me and in a friendly disposition with me. Rahasyam me taduttamam. Only they can understand this. So the real rahasya is that we have a right to perform our duty, but we actually cannot control the results. It's in Krishna's hands. So one should be satisfied with whatever Krishna gives them. But the problem is that since our childhood, we have been triggered to work for results, and we have not been trained to work for the satisfaction of our mind. Rather, we have been trained to work for the satisfaction of the results and the society. So this whole concept of satisfaction is completely missing. And the most important point, even if you do not have the first 4 points, if you have this last point, everything falls in place. That is Atmavich Charanachanam. One should worship the lotus feet of a spiritual master. No matter what kind of a fool you are, simply if you surrender to the lotus feet of a bona fide spiritual master, everything becomes auspicious. He will guide you and he will shake you out from your donkey-like existence. He will guide you as per your nature, guna and karma. He will engage you in the service of the Lord. He will stop you from seeing what others are doing, and he will explain you the importance of accepting whatever we get, whether it is misery or whether it is happiness. Whether Krishna rewards us, that is also his mercy. Whether Krishna puts us into some kind of seemingly or if he puts us into a situation which appears like suffering, that is also his mercy. So this transcendental vision the Guru will give you. So basically, this is the solution to the disease of attitude of comparison. Please take note, in spiritual life, we do not see or we do not judge any endeavor by its results. I again repeat, in spiritual life, we do not judge any endeavor by its results. Isn't it very, it will remove so much burden from you. my teacher, my guru, he tells to me that you just go and preach the science of Bhagavad Gita. Whether one person becomes a devotee or whether 250 people become a devotee, I don't care. All I am worried about is whether you are putting in your 100% or not, and whether you are satisfied by your endeavor or not, and whether you are worshipping the lotus feet of your spiritual master or not. So that removes so much burden, and that just scales up my performance, and it just puts me on a transcendental platform where I'm least bothered about the results. Somehow today we have around 250, 260 people. Even if one of you, 2 people just come in the session, I'm happy to still sit here and give a class. So this completely de-stresses me. This is a very, very important point. In spiritual life, we do not judge anything by its results. Rather, we judge things by the degree to which a person has become satisfied while performing that seva or that activity. This is Krishna consciousness. This is the secret of eternal happy life. Now, I'll just summarize it. How to get rid of this attitude of comparison. Number one, perform your own duty. Know your guna and karma. Know your nature. Swadharman acharanam. Number two, work up to your maximum capacity. That means work, give your 100%. Don't overshoot your maximum capacity. Don't undershoot your maximum capacity. Okay, Shaktya. Don't aspire to do others' duty. Don't aspire to do something just because others are doing it. Oh, everybody is becoming a footballer, so I should also become a footballer. No. Be satisfied with whatever result is achieved. The idea is that I will give in my 100%. Anyways, there are so many factors. In the session of karma, which is the next session, Karma, the art of work, is the name of the next session, where I will explain to you that there are 5 factors which affect the result of every activity. So if karma is an equation, then there are 5 variables in that equation, a 5-variable equation, where only one variable is in your hand, that is the activity. The 4 variables are not in your hand. So if somebody says, be passionate, achieve results, it's foolish. You can only be sincere and work, and you can only be sincere and you can just give your 100%. You cannot necessarily, or 100%, no surety is there that you'll achieve results. So we have to learn to be satisfied with whatever result is achieved, which is given to us by, if we are devotees, then Krishna personally intervenes in our life and decides what should come to this person, so that the heart of this person gets purified and they progress further on the path back home, back to Godhead. At the end of the day, it does not matter how much our boss is satisfied, or how much my family is satisfied, or how much my neighbor is satisfied, or how much my dog is satisfied. At the end of the day, the only thing which matters is how much is Krishna satisfied with me. If the whole world is praising me, but Krishna doesn't care for me, oh, it's an eternal loss. But if the whole world is spitting at me, but if Krishna really cares for me and appreciates me, then who cares for this flickering water bubble like material world? So we have to learn to be satisfied. This art of satisfaction puts everything in its proper place. We have to learn to be satisfied. Now, satisfaction does not mean complacency. That, okay, I will not work hard also and I will be satisfied also. No. You have to give in your 100%. You have to be sincere in your efforts. But then whatever comes, just accept and be satisfied. And most importantly, please remember that duty is meant for the satisfaction of mind, and not the society, and not the neighbors, and not the family members, and not the dogs and the cats, and not the false ego. Okay? So, at this point of time, I have a question for all of you. How many of you feel that this concept which I have just discussed, it surpasses all the knowledge which you have acquired till now? And then this knowledge, if properly applied in your life, if properly cognizantly practiced, will help you to get rid of this constant cancer of constant and unnecessary comparison. There's a poll in front of you. The question is, how many of you feel that this sutra from Srimad Bhagavatam will help you to get rid of the attitude of constant and unnecessary comparison in your life? Please take another 30 seconds to answer this question. Take another 10 seconds or so. Thank you very much. We are going to end the polling now. But I see that only 55% of the people have voted. Many people choose not to vote. Okay. See, there are so many options. Yes, no, not sure. You can just choose anything. But The whole purpose of having these votes is to make sure that you participate and you cast your opinion, so that I understand that as a teacher, how much stress I have to put on a particular topic. If you do not cast your vote, then I will never understand whether you are understanding or not. So one last appeal, please cast your votes. Okay, I think we have reached the threshold. Okay, I end this polling and I share the results. Around 84% of you feel that yes, if you carefully practice and understand this principle of Srimad Bhagavatam, Swadharmana Acharanam Shaktya Vidharma Cha Nivartanam, Daivala Labdhena Santosha Atmavich Charanachanam. If you follow this eternal principle, which people have been following since the dawn of creation, then you will be little bit well placed in this Dukhalayam, so that you can focus more on your Krishna consciousness, save more time for chanting Hare Krishna, and go back home, back to Godhead in this very lifetime. So thank you. 84% of you feel yes, 1% feels no, and 15% are not very sure. It is my hope and prayer that by the next discussion, or maybe in another few sessions, I'll be able to convince all these 15% not sure people into the yes category. Okay, thank you very much. I'll stop sharing the results now. And now, I'll just re-substantiate this point. I said that we are meant to satisfy Krishna and not the world. So here is a story, not a story, but an actual pastime from Ramayana. So I think all of you know this pastime. When the Ram Setu was being built, so everybody was trying to serve Lord Ram in their various different ways and various different capacities. So here was Hanuman, who was lifting great mountains, and he was bringing great mountains, and in one shot, kilometers of the sea was being, or of the bridge was being built. However, there was one squirrel who was just a squirrel. What could a squirrel do? But still, out of the desire to serve Lord Ram, the squirrel used to go wet itself in the sea water, come like a squirrel, moving here and there on the bank of the sea, or on the sea beach, roll in the sand, and then go on the bridge, and then shake its body so that some sand particles would fall and settle down in the bridge. So basically, she was doing this. The squirrel, I don't know, she or he, let's say it, the squirrel was doing the job of taking some sand particles and putting it on the bridge. So at one point of time, a very big monkey was trying to carry, let's say Hanuman was trying to carry this big boulder, and the squirrel came in the way. So the Hanuman said, please move out of the way. I'm doing something very important. Can't you see? So at that time, Lord Ram called Hanuman and he scolded Hanuman that how dare you scold the squirrel, or how dare you stop the squirrel in the path of its duty. Don't think that you are doing something very important and the squirrel is not doing something very important. You are a Hanuman, so you can lift great mountains. So you are working as per your capacity. And this is a squirrel. The squirrel can only lift some sand particles. The squirrel is working as per its capacity. I, Lord Ram, am equally satisfied with both you, Hanuman, as well as this squirrel. So just imagine. That's why I kept saying in spiritual life, we do not judge the endeavor based on the results. Rather, we see who is acting with what mood, with what intention, whether the Swadharmana Acharanam Shaktya principle is being established or not. So Lord Ram was equally happy with both Hanuman as well as the squirrel. Now, materially speaking, if you if a material minded person tries to see what work was done by whom, they will completely dismiss the squirrel. But in the eyes of Krishna, in the eyes of Lord Ram, the squirrel is as important as Hanuman, because both of them tried to serve Lord Ram with a sincere heart, sincere desire, and both of them gave their 100%. And that is what which matters. That is what which matters, truly speaking. Nothing else matters. You can satisfy the whole pig-like society, but if you don't satisfy Krishna, then everything is a waste of time. However, if you just satisfy Krishna, then you are a winner. Whether you have actually fully satisfied the neighbor, the society or not, it is not a subject matter of discussion. However, No matter if you appease everybody, but if you forget to appease Krishna, then everything is lost. Shrama eva hi kevalam. Simply a donkey labor. That's all. So, if you feel, I keep asking you these questions, if you feel that this sutra is so sublime that it can help you to progress very nicely in your spiritual life, then take a moment and in the chat box, type Hare Krishna. I've opened the chat box for everybody. If you feel that this sutra is so sublime and it can surpass all the knowledge of the world, then please type Hare Krishna in the chat box. It's so nice to see so many names of Krishna being written so many times. This is Krishna consciousness. Okay, thank you very much. I know this can go on. People really want to write. Somebody wrote the entire mantra. Thank you. So now we will stop this. Okay, thank you. Please stop typing. We'll go further in the discussion. Hare Krishna. Okay. And now we have solved the problem of attitude of comparison. And now the next thing which we want to discuss for today is the sinful activities, the wrongdoings, or the tendency of doing wrong acts, which is a great cause of suffering which we have. Now, please listen to 2 shlokas which I'm going to cover in detail, which will basically summarize the idea which I'm trying to convey to you. Dhyayato vishaya pumsaha sangas teshu pajayate sangat sanjayate kamat krodho bhijayate. While contemplating on the objects of senses, a person develops attachment for them. And from such attachment, lust develops. And from lust arises anger. So, meditation on the object of the sense. So, the sense object, the sense object for the tongue is something very tasty. The sense object of the ear is to hear something, some gossip or something very mundane. The sense object of the eye is to see something abominable. So these are the sense objects. So when the mind starts contemplating on the sense objects, the senses are going towards the sense object, and the mind is feeble, doesn't chant Hare Krishna, intelligence is weak, not able to control the mind. So when the mind starts contemplating on the sense objects, then a person develops attachment for that sense object. And from such sense object arises lust. Now, what does lust mean? Lust does not necessarily mean, or does not only mean the attraction between the opposite gender, between male and female. No. Lust also means the desire to have something or desire to enjoy something which doesn't belong to you is also lust. Desire to enjoy something which you do not deserve is also lust. The desire to enjoy something which is not suitable for your spiritual life is also lust. So one develops a lust for that. One can be lusty for a car. One can be lusty for a land of a neighbor. So when the attachment develops, from the attachment develops lust. And when the lust is unfulfilled, it leads to anger. Now this meditation on the sense objects is very, very strong. Contemplation on the objects of the senses. This is a very, very high technical funda term. In simple words, we call it advertisements. So these advertisements, they are basically trying or forcing us to meditate on a particular sense object. And this kind of advertisements or this kind of contemplation is so thoughtfully being planned and implanted in our lives that it is a fact that those people who live in the polar regions, they are being sold refrigerators by making them meditate on these objects of the senses. People who live in igloos, they have refrigerators. Just imagine. If you don't have a refrigerator, you are not a man. अगर आपके टूथपेस्ट में नमक नहीं है, you are going to die. So this is the way in which we are being forced, literally forced to contemplate on sense objects. The moment we come out of the house, there is a big billboard which forces that thought in our mind. And in this way, our minds are being programmed, and we are just like mindless robots, not having any sense of control, feeling that I'm in fully control, but actually being completely driven. We are just going into a direction where we end up into where we are just buried under a mountain of EMIs, and then we just wait for life to end, and then we just die. This is going on. So my question to you now is, how many of you feel that advertisements are misleading because they force you to meditate on the sense objects which you don't want to associate with in first place? And how many of you feel that you are actually being programmed by these advertisements? So there's a poll on your screen. Please take 45 seconds to answer this. And this time I request all of you to vote for it, please. Okay, take another 15 seconds. I think there is some technical difficulty. Many people have not yet voted. Okay, we'll end the voting now. Thank you very much for helping me to understand as a teacher whether I have been successful in explaining the subject matter to you or not by voting. Thank you. Grateful, with a lot of gratitude, I end this polling now and I share the results. So around 76% of you feel that yes, you are being programmed by these advertisements. Kya aapke toothpaste mein namak hai? Who cares if namak is there or haldi is there? And 25% of you, 24% of you believe that no, we are not being programmed. We are actually getting a lot of benefit by these advertisements. Okay, no problem. We move into the discussion. So I have made, for easy understanding, I have made this flow chart. Sense objects, when we contemplate on this sense object, then attachment to that sense object comes. When attachment increases, it becomes lust. Lust is basically trying to enjoy someone else's property or that which is not with me, or which I don't deserve, or which I not necessarily want. These kind of things are called lust. Something which I'm not constitutionally supposed to enjoy. If I want to enjoy that, that is lust. Now we said in the Bhagavad Gita, chapter 7, shloka 4 and 5, that earth, water, fire, air, ether, mind, intelligence, false ego, everything belongs to Krishna. So ideally, Krishna should enjoy everything. If you have a car and if I take your car away, which you have given to me on lease, and if I start enjoying with it, you'll put me in jail. Similarly, this body has been given on lease to us by Krishna so that we can spend some time in material world, chant Hare Krishna, and let Maya beat the pulp out of us, and then we will come into our senses and go back home back to Godhead. However, we don't do that. We want to be the Lord of everything that we survey. That is the problem. So therefore, trying to enjoy something which actually belongs to Krishna is lust. And when this lust is unfulfilled, it leads to anger. Now I'm going to the next shloka, 2.63. Please listen very carefully. Krodhat bhavati sammoha, sammohat smriti vibhramaha, smriti bhramshat buddhinasho, buddhinashat pranashyati. From anger, complete delusion arises, and from delusion, bewilderment of memory. When memory is bewildered, intelligence is lost. And when intelligence is lost, one falls down into the material pool again. One falls down again into the material pool. This is a very, very powerful thing. From anger, delusion arises. That means one forgets or one loses the focus in life. One comes in a kind of bhram, in kind of deluded state, hallucinating kind of a situation they come into. And then from this delusion, bewilderment of memory. That means memory loss happens. Memory means remembering that I am a part and parcel of Krishna and I'm meant to serve Krishna. I'm a devotee of Krishna, and my purpose of life is not to do sense gratification, but rather engage myself to please Krishna and the devotees of Krishna. When somebody forgets this, this is called as memory loss. So when memory is lost, intelligence is also lost. And when intelligence basically is lost, which means the ability to differentiate between right and wrong in a given circumstance, when that is lost, then one falls into the pool of material existence. That means basically, in simple terms, one starts doing sinful activities. So here is another chart. From anger rises bewilderment, that is delusion. Krishna is the enjoyer, but one starts thinking, I'm also the enjoyer. I'm also the Purusha. Actually, we are all Prakriti. Only Krishna is the Purusha, but we start thinking, I'm also the Purusha. And from this bewilderment, memory loss happens. And then from memory loss, intelligence is lost. And when intelligence is lost, then we become basically ready to do anything, whether it is social crimes, whether it is suicide, or whether it is rape. I mean, there are so many other things. I've just put 3 here. So please consider this point. Why do we end up doing sinful activities? It all starts from the contemplation on the sense object. For example, if this process or if this chain of thoughts has started, then you just have to break it and come out of it. You cannot simply start the process and then stop it in midway. No, it's not possible. For example, I'm standing on the cliff of a mountain and I'm about to jump. The only control I have is before jumping, that I can change my mind. But once I have jumped, then in middle, I cannot do anything. I have to die. So similarly, this whole process of fall down, this whole process of sinful activities can be stopped only at the point of contemplation on the sense objects. That point only, if you stop, then this lust will never come, anger will never come, intelligence loss will never happen, and then sinful activities will not happen. However, if you let this chain start, then you cannot help yourself. Then you need help from someone outside, some external help you need. You need the help of basically Krishna or the devotees of Krishna to come out of it. So it is very important for us to practice sense control. Now, one may say that I'm a very good man. I will never murder anybody or I will never do any crime. It is a wrong statement. If you are exposed to sense gratification or opportunities of sense gratification in a periodic and planned way, just the way advertisements do to you. I repeat, you may be very confident that you will never steal anything or you'll never murder anything or you'll never perform any abominable activity. However, if you are exposed to opportunities of sense gratification in a planned and a periodic way, then you will end up doing it. This is what has been summarized in the Bhagavad Gita, 2.62 and 2.63. So therefore, to avoid it, one should practice sense control. That is called acting on the platform of soul, brahmacharya. Brahmacharati iti brahmachari. Brahmacharya means what? Brahma bhuta prasannatma na shochati na kankshati sama sarveshu bhuteshu mad bhakti labte. When somebody is fully convinced that I am a spirit soul and they should act on the platform of spirit soul, that means they should become devotees of Krishna, they should chant Hare Krishna, they should not eat abominable things, they should not drink abominable things, they should not gamble, they should not engage in illicit sexual relationships outside marriage. That is called as acting on the platform of Brahman. That is called sense control. And the primary sense control which we all need is the sense control of the mind. So this is called brahmacharya. So controlling senses is the primary requirement to get knowledge. We can get data from Google, but we cannot get knowledge, self-realized knowledge from Google. I've had so many experiences in life where I've seen that people who are actually sense controlled, people who are actually practicing this brahmacharya in their life, where they are fully acting on the platform of the spirit soul, and they are not, the purpose of their life is not to simply eat, sleep, drink, and be merry. No, They have a higher purpose in life and they know that they are a spirit soul. I've seen such people, even when they are exposed to sense gratification, they don't buy that. Once, Srila Prabhupada, the founder Acharya of ISKCON, and my spiritual grandfather, he was once challenged by a reporter that what is the difference between you and me? Srila Prabhupada once told, the difference between you and me is that if a naked woman comes into this room, you will be fully agitated and I will be not. Because I'm a dhira. Dhira statra namuhyati. So this is one of the important things. A symptom of knowledge is good character and self-control. So if we have this sense control primarily means that when my mind is moving towards a sense object, I should be able to cut the chain of thoughts and engage positively somewhere else. Chant Hare Krishna. So if we can do this, then we will stop ourselves completely from doing any sinful activity. This is a very, very big secret which nobody discusses. Sense control is important. All the parents today, please train your children to be sense controlled. All the parents first train yourself to be sense controlled. Until you become sense controlled, you cannot understand the Bhagavad Gita. If your existence is completely agitated all the time, simply being lusty around sense objects, what is the scope of any spiritual discussion? You will be so, you and me and everybody who is doing that will be so spiritually dull that all they will understand is some Sanskrit words. They will never understand the true meaning of these shlokas. So in order to be purified and come on a transcendental platform to be able to perceive these things and practice it, sense control is 100% mandatory. If someone says, no, I will not practice sense control, but at the same time, I'll be spiritual, please don't take offense. If you are thinking like this, then you are hallucinating. You will end up becoming an armchair speculator of Bhagavad Gita. You may talk like a scholar, just like so many other scholars are there on Bhagavad Gita, holding a glass of whiskey and a cigarette in their hand and sitting on an armchair and having discussions on Bhagavad Gita. But they have not even touched the subject matter of Bhagavad Gita. One can recite the Bhagavad Gita in 40 minutes, but they cannot live the Bhagavad Gita for 40 minutes also. So, to access this knowledge, to come on the platform of spirit soul, to understand that I'm not this body, I'm the spirit soul, one needs to practice sense control. So now, I have a question for all of you, which is very soon going to come on your screen. How many of you feel that sense control is absolutely mandatory? Otherwise, one will degrade into the lower species of life. This question is on your screen. Please cast your vote and take 30 seconds. The question is, how many of you feel that sense control is absolutely necessary or absolutely mandatory? Otherwise, one will degrade into the lower species of life. Tamo gachanti tamasaha, Bhagavad Gita chapter 16. Actually, there's nothing to discuss here. The Bhagavad Gita itself says this in chapter 16. Divine and demoniac natures. Take another 10 seconds. Thank you very much. Somehow when I see such polls, please lower your hands also. Somehow when I see such polls, I feel a little bit encouraged that at least something I'm able to convey to all of you, even though I'm not meeting all of you, even though I'm not serving nice Krishna Prasad to all of you. Earlier, we would have these classes in Vagdevi Vilas school, which is very close to Hope Farms, just after the, it was very close to Kanamangala area. And I think many of you know that Vagdevi Vilas school. Lulu Saris, that junction. So I used to go there. We used to have nice kirtan, and I would actually see the faces of everybody, call people by their names. I would have a board in which I would explain and also have some presentations. And the best part, at the end of the class, I would take some nice prasad. And ISKCON prasad does not mean some donna prasad. ISKCON prasad means full plate prasad. So I would take some 5-6 items with me. and some 120, 140 people would come and we would serve them. They would understand Bhagavad Gita, chant Hare Krishna, dance in the kirtan, eat nice Krishna Prasad, and with fully satisfied in the mind, they would go home. So for me, that was Gita course. But somehow this corona is restricting me and restricting our entire team rather. As far as this Gita course is concerned, it is an effort of the team. I again keep an all the time, I will repeat and emphasize, I'm just the front face. I just come and give a class and go. But all the background management and creation of these polls and the follow up and the quizzes and the messages and planning and the question answer sessions and the meetings and the links, everything is being done by the team. So this team comprises my previous year Gita course students. So I'm so grateful to this team. They are the actual people who are working, and it is by their prayer and by their meditation that all of you are becoming devotees and have already become devotees. And you're taken to the path of Krishna consciousness with so much determination. So all glories to this follow-up team. Because of them, we are able to touch so many souls and pass on such candid messages which are never discussed in schools, universities, or colleges. So thank you to the entire Gita course team for enabling us to do this discussion. I'm extremely grateful to you. I fall down at the lotus feet of my Gita course team because they are helping me to fulfill the desire of my spiritual master. My spiritual master will immensely bless all the members of the Gita course team. Thank you very much. So coming to the discussion, now around 97% of you feel that if you do not practice primary sense control, primary level of brahmacharya, primary level of soul mentality or soul consciousness, then you will degrade into the lower species of life in your next lifetime. Thank you very much. This was a wonderful discussion. We're not yet done. Please hang on till the end. I have a very, very important bumper announcement to make and also one homework to give. So please don't go away. Okay. Now we saw there is an attitude of comparison and we saw the solution to it. And now I explained the science of why we end up committing sinful activities. However, the tip which I gave was do practice sense control, but we know we have examples like Vishwamitra, and we have great examples where even the foremost sense controlled people fell down from their position. So sense control is good, but it is not the biggest defense against Maya or against the illusory energy of Lord. So here is the biggest defense. Nasti buddhir ayuktasya na cha yuktasya bhavana na cha bhavayatah shantir ashantasya kutah sukham. Bhagavad Gita chapter 2 shloka 66. One who is not connected with the Supreme in Krishna consciousness can have neither transcendental intelligence nor a steady mind, without which there is no possibility of peace. And how can there be any happiness without peace? So Krishna has made it very clear. We are suffering because of attachment to temporary things, because of attitude of comparisons, because of desire to do sinful activities. However, all these problems can be solved simply by one single master stroke. What is that master stroke? Get connected to Krishna. One who gets connected to Krishna will have transcendental intelligence, and this intelligence will make the mind very steady. If the mind is steady, that means the senses are under control. The only possibility to experience some peace and have peace in life is by having a steady mind, which in turn happens when the intelligence controls the mind and not the mind controlling the intelligence. Intelligence becomes strong by hearing to such lectures. Intelligence becomes strong by reading the Bhagavad Gita. Intelligence becomes strong by hearing lectures of acharyas like Srila Prabhupada. When we live in the association of other devotees, intelligence becomes strong. Nobody is intelligent from mother's womb. Kalau Shudra Sambhava. Especially in Kali Yuga, everybody is a Shudra from birth. Because no Janma Samskaras or no Navavidhi Samskaras are being performed. So Garbhadan samskaras are also not being performed. So everybody is a Shudra. However, if one simply associates with the devotees of the Lord, one gets transcendental intelligence. That intelligence which is beyond this material world. And when one gets that transcendental intelligence, then mind becomes steady under the control of intelligence. Mind does not flicker under the onslaught of the senses and the sense objects. There's a very nice sloka which I will cover in the next session, which talks about how a person, although incessant desires are coming into his existence, still remains steady, is peaceful, compared to a person who runs to satisfy each and every desire. The example given in Bhagavad Gita is an ocean. So many rivers flow into the ocean, but the ocean never gets agitated. It remains self-controlled within its boundaries. However, a spiritual person should also be like this. Innumerable incessant desires may keep coming, but one should just tolerate it. Rather, if a person runs behind fulfilling every desire which comes in their mind, oh, they will be never satisfied and never peaceful. So steady mind, without which there is no peace, and one who is not having peace, how can there be any happiness? So all the nice photos which you see on billboards doing sense gratification, every time when you see this, you tell at least to yourself that they are not peaceful, because they are fully agitated under the spell of sense gratification. So they are not peaceful. And if there is no peace, then there is no question of happiness. And how to become peaceful? By becoming transcendently intelligent. And how to become transcendently intelligent? By being connected to Krishna or to the Supreme. One single master stroke, and you're able to overcome all the problems of your life. This is the biggest solution which I have to offer to all of you. Just become a devotee of Krishna, worship Krishna, offer obeisances to Krishna, and try to think about Krishna. You will see that miseries will come, but you will not suffer. Miseries are mandatory, but suffering is optional. Simply by becoming a devotee of Krishna, you will not suffer, no matter what circumstance you are put into. You will have the transcendental intelligence, in which way you will be in this world, but not of this world. And what is the importance and what is the benefit of doing this? Bhagavad Gita 2.40, Neha bhikrama nashosti pratavayo na vidyate swalpam apyasya dharmasya trayate mahato bhayat. This Krishna consciousness is so beautiful, Prabhujis and Matajis, that in this endeavor, there is no loss or diminution, and a little advancement on this path can protect one from the most dangerous type of fear. What is the most dangerous type of fear? The most dangerous type of fear is to degrade into the lower species of life once having attained the human form. Activity in Krishna consciousness, or acting for the benefit of Krishna without any expectation for sense gratification, is the highest transcendental quality work which can be performed by anybody. Please take note that anybody who is doing any mundane work or working on the material plane, until the work is completed, if the work is not completed, then everything is considered to be a failure. That is on the material plane. However, in Krishna consciousness, that is not the case. Any work even started in Krishna consciousness has a permanent effect. In the session number 6, where I'll be covering the 6th chapter of Bhagavad Gita chapter 6, shloka 37 to 45, it talks about how whatever we do in Krishna consciousness remains eternally with us. If you are a PhD in this lifetime, next lifetime you have to again start from ABCD. However, if you have progressed 10% in Krishna consciousness, then in your next life, you start from 11%. And Krishna makes sure of so many things. He gives you birth in a right family, so that you're automatically attracted to these principles of Krishna consciousness, even without seeking for it. You don't struggle for roti, kapda, and makan. Nobody stuffs a beef into your mouth. So he gives you a proper placement in your next life also. And you continue from the point where you left. So nothing is ever lost. However, you may be a great rich man, a great musician, or whatever. In your next life, you have to again start from ABCD. So that is why Krishna says, in this path, in this endeavor, there is no loss or diminution. On the material plane, everything finishes with the end of the body. The body finishes. All that which the person has struggled for, slogged for in their entire lifetime, everything is finished. You cannot take a needle back with you in your next life. However, in Krishna consciousness, that's not the case. If you have made 70% progress in your next life, one thing is for sure, at least you will get a human body. Even if you are the Prime Minister of India, you cannot be sure if you will get a human body next time or not. If you have a dog-like mentality, you will become a dog. One of the Prime Ministers of India became a dog in their next life. However, if you practice Krishna consciousness, if you chant Hare Krishna, and if you make some progress, then in your next life, at least you'll become a human being and you'll be placed properly so that you get a fair chance to again start chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Krishna as the Paramatma from within your heart will remind you that this is where you have left and this is where you have to pick up from. But this is not valid on the material plane. So I think there is a statement in the Bible which says, what profiteth a man if he gains the whole world, yet suffer the loss of his eternal soul? So activities on the material plane are good. I'm not criticizing them. However, please understand, it doesn't help the soul. However, activities on Krishna consciousness, they are eternal credit. If you chant, if you observe one Ekadashi, or if you chant 1 or 2 rounds of Hare Krishna Mahamantra every day, eternally it is there in your account that yes, this person has chanted. In your next lifetime also, you will get a concession. Yes, this person has chanted. So let us give him some opportunity. So this is the magic of Krishna consciousness. Nothing is ever lost in Krishna consciousness. So this is the beauty of Krishna consciousness. And with this, I'll now come to the root cause of everything. We saw attachment to temporary things is bad or the cause of our suffering. Attitude of comparison is the cause of our suffering. And sinful activities is a cause of our suffering. But the root cause of attitude of comparison and the sinful activities is also attachment to temporary things. Everything starts from having a wrong understanding of the self. Everything starts from the fact that I am this body. So this is the root cause of everything. Attachment to temporary things. I'm just compiling down to one point. And I'd like to explain this further by one small analogy. So there was a person, a traveler, traveling around. I don't know if I've told this in previous sessions or not, but this is a very suitable analogy here. The art of giving analogies and trying to explain something is called a Shak Chandra Nyaya. There is no material thing which can actually help to substantiate something which is spiritual. However, just like when a small child asks the mother, where is the moon? So the mother says, can you see those 2 branches of the tree? In between the 2 branches, the small round object which you're seeing is the moon. Shakha Chandra Nyaya. So, although the moon is not between the 2 branches, but the support of the branch is being taken to explain the moon. So similarly, trying to explain spiritual subject matters using material examples is like that, Shak Chandra Nyaya. So I will present one Shak Chandra Nyaya here. So there was a traveler who was traveling in some holy place, some pilgrim site, let's say Vrindavan. And then he entered the house or the ashram of a devotee who was sitting and chanting Hare Krishna. And then when he entered, the devotee welcomed him. He gave him a straw mat to sit. He offered him some glass of water. And then this traveler, he asks him a question that, how many years are you here from? So this devotee says, I'm here from the last 25 years. That's a long time, the traveler says. But I see that you have nothing in your house. There's no furniture. Where is your furniture? So this devotee asks the traveler that, where is your furniture? So the traveler said, see, I'm a traveler. I'm traveling. I have no permanent place. I don't know where I am today and where I'll be tomorrow. So therefore, I'm not carrying any furniture with me. Listening to this, the devotee smiled and he said, just like you are thinking you are a traveler in this holy land of Vrindavan, Similarly, I am also understanding that I am also a traveler in this material world in general. Life is like a bridge. We have to pass upon it. We should not build a house on that bridge. So, with this analogy, we should try to understand that his whole life is like a journey where one should not get or entangle themselves in too many attachments. That is why the sadhus, the Parivrajikacharya sadhus, or who are those kind of saints who keep moving from one place to another, they are really liberated people because they practice this lifestyle on a purpose. Because if they sit in one place, they'll end up getting attached to so many things, to so many students, to so many disciples, to so many ashrams, to so many places, to so many laptops and things like that. So they kept moving. And when they kept moving, they would carry only those things which are absolutely necessary. So just by this lifestyle, they were detached. So now you understand the science behind these wandering mendicants. They would go from one place to another, do a little bit begging, eat something, and chant Hare Krishna. So the activities which we have been seeing since time immemorial in this holy land of India, which is the remnant of the Vedic civilization, they are very, very deep and scientific activities, highly based in the principles of Bhagavad Gita, highly inspired from the goal of life, which is to go back home, back to God. So keeping this analogy in mind, please try to understand that we should not get attached to temporary things. And now, the practical tip of the day. There are no guesses for it. I think all of you know. How do I work? This is the Swadharman Acharanam Shaktya verse, which says, perform your own duty, work up to your maximum capacity, don't aspire to do others' duty, be satisfied with whatever result is achieved, and duty is meant for the satisfaction of mind and not the world. Okay? So this is the practical tip of the day. But before I end today's session, I would like to give you another homework. This time, Bhagavad Gita, chapter 2, shloka number 40. My question to all of you is, you all are educated individuals. You are probably graduates or masters or PhDs. Is it too difficult to learn one shloka of Bhagavad Gita in 1 week? I don't think so. I know people who are learning 3-4 slokas every day. How difficult it is to learn one shloka? The purpose we give one homework is not to harass you. The purpose here is to give you an opportunity to think of Krishna. When you will recite these shlokas, when you will read it, you'll feel like, okay, there is 2.41 is also nice. Let me read it. Or to understand the context, let me read 5 shlokas before it and let me read 5 shlokas after it. This is the idea by which we give the homework. That at least you memorize one shloka. If there are 9 weeks of this Gita course, then we want to give 9 shlokas, at least 10, 15 shlokas you should know after attending the Gita course. Otherwise, if someone asks you what you learned, then what you will say? So homework for this week is 2.40, and you have to learn it word by word translation also, full translation also, and the Sanskrit shloka also. All 3 things should be by heart. And yes, please try to answer the quiz. I saw that only around 60% people are answering the quiz. What happens to the remaining 40%? Are you not interested in revising the session? If you revise it, you'll be able to remember it better. So please answer the quiz positively. And I give so many practical tips in every session. However, every practical tip is only functional and only working if you chant the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, which was the tip of session number 1. So I request all of you, it takes 7 to 8 minutes to chant one round, 108 times the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. My question to you is, I see many of you are already interested to attend the Brahma Muhurta session or the morning chanting session, which I'm doing along with my other students. It takes only 7 minutes to chant one round. Can't you give 7 minutes to Krishna in a day? You have 86,400 seconds in a day. You have so many minutes, 3,600 minutes. Sorry, 3,600 seconds in every hour. And you have 24 hours in a day. Can't you give 7 minutes of your day to Krishna? Is it too much to ask? One shloka a week, 7 minutes every day. I feel this is very practical. So therefore, because I am teaching this Gita course, so I take this audacity of posting one question in front of you, which I request all of you to answer with full honesty. How many of you are chanting one round of Hare Krishna Mahamantra daily? If you are chanting every day, please say yes. If you are trying to do it, say trying. If you are willing to start, say you want to start. And if you want any help and further motivation from us, let us know. We'll get in touch with you and we'll help you. However, please chant every day. I will not share the results of this poll because, okay, the results are really encouraging and inspiring, so I will share. It really helps if you do this. Take another 10 seconds to answer this poll, and then hang on for another 5 minutes before we wrap up the session. And I basically want all of you to chant some Hare Krishna Mahamantras with me before you leave. So just hang on. Okay, I end this polling now. Thank you very much for casting your vote. I see more people have voted this time. The results are as follows. I'm very, very happy that around 42% of you have already started chanting Hare Krishna. This is my salary. This is my salary. If all of you can start chanting Hare Krishna, I'll be the most happy man in this world. And I see that 31% of you are trying. This gives me so much confidence. 19% of you have already committed to me in front of Krishna and in front of all the other students here that you will start now. And I accept your commitment. And 3% of you say that you need help. All those who need help, please text me, message me, either me or the volunteers. We will try to get back to you and help you. And 6% of you are saying, no, you are not yet chanting. So those who are not yet chanting, it is my sincere request to you, please start chanting Hare Krishna. This is your best welfare. So with this, we come to the end of this discussion. And I will again and again and again, and every session, I will keep hitting and driving the same point, that whatever result was obtained in Satyuga by meditating on Vishnu, whatever result was obtained in Treta Yuga by performing sacrifices, in Dwapar Yuga by serving the Lord's lotus feet, can be obtained in Kali Yuga simply by chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra. I also ask this question every time in the quiz, but I see many of you are still making mistakes. Let me explain in 30 seconds. Meditation is the Yuga Dharma. Yuga Dharma means that activity by which you attain the path back to Godhead, or by which you go back home, back to Godhead. So in Satyuga, the Yuga Dharma is tapasya or meditation. In Treta Yuga, the Yuga Dharma is fire sacrifices or physical sacrifices. In Dwapar Yuga, the Yuga Dharma is Archa Vigraha Upasana, temple construction, deity worship. But in Kali Yuga, tapasya will not work, yagyas will not work, Archa Vigraha Upasana will not necessarily work. However, the only thing which will work, we have just passed 5,000 years in Kali Yuga. The Kali Yuga's lifespan is 4,32,000 years. As and when the Kali Yuga will progress, now only it is impossible. As and when it will progress, these people will forget about these things only. So the only thing which will be available or accessible to the fallen conditioned souls of Kali Yuga is Kalau Tada Hari Kirtana. One has to chant the Hare Krishna Mahamantra in Kali Yuga. And whatever result which we obtain by chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, we get the same benefit which people or sages like Valmiki got in Satyuga by meditating for 60,000 years. When the disease becomes strong, the medicine also becomes stronger. So in Kali Yuga, the material disease, the material fever is really high. So Krishna has given a stronger medicine, his own holy name. So proof of this is in the Kali Santaran Upanishad. So I request all of you to turn on your videos and let's all chant for the next 2 to 3 minutes this Hare Krishna Mahamantra with all our hearts and all our minds, all our intelligence, whatever we have within us, within us or without us, let's chant the holy name of the Lord. But before chanting the holy name of the Lord, let's not forget to chant the Panch Tattva mantra. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya. Please repeat with me. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya. Prabhu Nityananda. Shri Advaita Gadadhara. Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Thank you very much. Now we will chant the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. While chanting, simply focus on the sound vibration of this Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Forget everything else. For the next 10 minutes, not 10 minutes, 2 minutes or 3 minutes, it's just you and Krishna and the devotees around you. Let's start. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Gadadhara, Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. So thank you very much for so sincerely chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. It gives me so much happiness. I'll tell you a secret. There is something called a spiritual mathematics. On the days of Ekadashi, any japa, tapa or vrata which is performed, it gives 1000 times the result. So if you chant one round of Hare Krishna Mahamantra today, it is equivalent of chanting 1000 rounds of Hare Krishna Mahamantra today. If you chant 4 rounds, then it is equivalent to chanting 4000 rounds of Hare Krishna Mahamantra today. It is up to you whether you want to grab this opportunity to become qualified in Krishna consciousness, to attract the mercy of the Lord or not. Today is an auspicious day. Today is Ekadashi. It is the day of Lord Hari. So please chant the Hare Krishna Mahamantra as many rounds as you can. This will really help you in your spiritual life, and it will also make my job easy as a teacher, because if you are transcendently advanced, then my job, I don't need to give 2-hour sessions. I'll just speak for half an hour and then I'll just say, let's chant Hare Krishna. Okay, so with this, we end today's discussion. The session has officially ended. Those who want to exit can exit. However, for the next 10 to 15 minutes, I would like to take some questions, because I really like question and answers. Although the real nectar or the real fruit of this discussion, this question answer discussions, comes out on Tuesdays, where people really ask tough questions. And I really enjoy giving those answers to those questions. If I know the answers, I answer them. If I don't know, then I will ask my seniors and I will get back to you. But the real nectar of this question and answer, or this starts on Tuesdays, basically. So all those who are looking for a meaningful happiness in your life, and all those who are really looking for answers, please make it a point to attend on Tuesdays. And now I will open the chat box so that you can ask some questions. And this will go on for the next 10 to 15 minutes. Questions are welcome. Okay, questions, please. Are you able to type in the chat box? Sorry, I have not yet enabled the chat box. Okay, the chat box is open. You can please type in your questions. And don't type so many questions also, because we cannot take. However, those questions which we cannot take now, we will take it on Tuesday. Okay, parallelly, I'll start seeing the questions. Almost every day, Deepmala Golani is asking, almost every day my sleep breaks around 3 to 4 a.m. I always think to get up and chant during this time, but since childhood, I'm frightened of silence, kind of ghostly feeling. And due to this weakness, I miss the auspicious chants. Can you please tell how to defeat this fear? Please understand that wherever there is the chanting of the holy name going on, even if by mistake somebody is chanting, even if somebody is just murmuring, there is no question of any evil spirit or any inauspicious force to lurk around. So on the strength of the scriptures, on the strength of the Shastra, on the strength of the holy name, and more importantly, on the strength of the association of devotees, you have to give up this baseless fear. You are protected by the Narayana Astra. You are protected by the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Why do you need to worry? So just give up this baseless fear. Connect to the Zoom session where all devotees are sitting and chanting. Once you'll start seeing the bright faces of the devotees, and when you will enter, when people will say welcome, welcome, then all the fear will go away. Okay, so please try to. Some people have this fear problem. Some people have the problem of feeling lazy. Some people have the problem of so many problems. Mind comes up with so many reasons why one should not get up in the Brahma Muhurta and use this for the purpose of self-realization. However, one of the easiest ways to control the mind is to neglect the mind. Just ignore whatever the mind says. If it is dancing on you, let it dance. Just ignore it. You have to do what you're supposed to do. Mind control means doing the same thing at the same time every day, day after day, again and again. This is mind control in basics. So no matter what the mind says, generally when I also wake up some days, these days the temperature is little chilly, So my mind also tells me, every day you are waking up for Mangal Aarti. I generally wake up at 3:45. So my mind gives me at least 10 reasons every day in the bed why I should not get up. Oh, last night you worked very hard, so you have to take extra time in sleep. Or today is not your Pujari Seva, so you can sleep little more. Or today, you know, your senior is not going to come for the Mangal Aarti, so nobody's going to see, so you better sleep off. The 10 reasons my mind will give me. But every time I just ignore all the reasons. I just pick up my toilet kit and I enter the bathroom and I start brushing, and then I have a bath and I just come out. I put on my tilak and dhoti kurta and I go and offer my obeisances every day sharp 4:30 a.m. in front of the Lord. This is the secret of my happy life. If somebody asks me in one word, how are you so enthusiastic? I'm so enthusiastic because every day at 4:30 a.m. I'm dancing in front of Krishna. How many times have you danced in your life? I dance every day at 4:30 a.m. So don't miss this happiness of singing and dancing at 4:30 a.m. in the morning in front of Krishna. Next question. Gita Konathala. Hare Krishna Prabhuji, can you please explain the Panch Tattva mantra in detail? Who are the Panch Tattva? Okay, I was withholding this discussion because there is some more background which I have to establish before coming to the Panch Tattva mantra. But since you have asked, in brief, I will describe, but I will not take any more questions on this because this is a subject matter of future discussion in one of the future sessions. So Krishna has actually appeared in Kali Yuga also. And unfortunate people don't know about this avatar of Krishna, this Prem avatar of Krishna, who's known as Shri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Lord Chaitanya is the incarnation of Krishna in Kali Yuga. However, in this incarnation, Krishna has disguised himself as his own devotee. So in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna explains what to do, but people of Kali Yuga started telling, oh, this Krishna is very mean. He is asking to surrender. Sarva dharman parityajya maam ekam sharanam vraja. How can Krishna say to surrender to him? So Krishna thought that Kali Yuga people are so fallen, they are criticizing me, they are anyways going to hell. I have told them what to do, but he is so merciful. Hey Krishna, Karuna Sindhu, Deena Bandhu, Jagatpate. He is so merciful, an ocean of mercy. So he thought that let me go in Kali Yuga once more and teach people how to do this Krishna consciousness. As Vasudev Krishna, I told them what to do in the Bhagavad Gita, but now let me go as Sri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and tell them how to do it. So Krishna came in Kali Yuga in the guise of his own devotee and he chanted his own names. And this Prema Purushottam avatar is the most munificent avatar of Krishna. Krishna tells in the Bhagavad Gita, Ye yatha mam prapadyante tams tathaiva bhajamyaham. The degree to which one surrenders to me, to that degree I reveal myself to that person. But however, Lord Chaitanya says, whether you are qualified or whether you are not qualified. Remove that shloka, Ye yatha mam prapadyante. Same Krishna, he's coming in Kali Yuga, he's having the mood or the magnanimity of Srimati Radharani. And he's telling that whether you are qualified or you're not qualified. Simply if you chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, I am going to give you that which I had not given to anybody, even when I came down as Krishna, or even when I came down as myself, my original self. I'm going to not give you dharma. I'm not going to necessarily give you artha. I'm not going to give you kama, and neither am I going to give you moksha. I'm going to give you the Pancham Purusharth, that is Prema, Krishna Prema. Even when Krishna was there in Dwarka or in his pastimes, few people, just a handful of people achieved Krishna Prema because it is so rare to achieve that. However, when Sri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu descends, he freely distributes this love of God, which even demigods like Brahma and Shiva are hankering for. That is why in Kali Yuga, all these demigods, they take birth as ordinary human beings. That which cannot be attained in other yugas can easily be attained in a short span of 50 years or whatever time, depends on your intensity of practice. You can just attain this love of God, which is the crest jewel of all benedictions. That is why in the praise of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, it is said, Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya. Namine Gauratvishena. You are Krishna himself, who has assumed the name of Krishna Chaitanya, and you are freely distributing that which nobody even thought of. In the Bhagavad Gita, you speak about ye yatha mam prapadyante tams tathaiva bhajamyaham. But here you come as Sri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and you are giving Krishna Prem to everybody, not even seeing who is qualified, who is unqualified. So that is Chaitanya Avatar. And the principal associates of Lord Chaitanya, Vrajendra Nandana Jai Shachi Sutta Hoilo Sai Balarama Hoilo Nitai. So Nityanand is Balaram. Vrajendra Nandan, son of Nanda Maharaj, is Rajendra Nandan Jai Shachi Sutta Hoilo Sai. So Lord Chaitanya's mother is Shachi, Mother Shachi. So Lord Chaitanya is Krishna, Balram is Nityanand Prabhu, Sri Krishna Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Sri Advait. Advaita Acharya is the combination of Mahavishnu and Sadashiv. So even Mahavishnu and Sadashiv are coming to take part in the pastimes of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So that is Advaita Acharya. Sri Advaita Gadadhar. Gadadhar is Srimati Radharani's incarnation. And Srivas is the incarnation of the devotion to Krishna personified. Some people also say it is Narad Muni who has come down as Srivas. But technically speaking, devotion, bhakti personified, has taken incarnation as Srivas. So when we say Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Srivas Adi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda, we are Gaura Bhakta Vrinda also. So we are basically offering our obeisances to Sri Krishna Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Sri Advaita Gadadhar, Srivas, Adi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda, all the other devotees of Gaura. Lord Chaitanya is also called as Gaura because he had a golden complexion. So this mantra is the mantra which helps the Kali Yuga living entities to get rid of the offenses which they are making while chanting the holy names. So therefore, I stress more upon this mantra. We are not qualified to chant Hare Krishna. But when we chant, when we take the shelter of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Nityanand Prabhu and Advaita Acharya and Srivas Thakur and Gadadhar Pandit and all the other devotees of Lord Chaitanya, we attract the mercy of Radha and Krishna also. Chaitanya Lila happened only 500 years ago. It is a great misfortune that very few people know it because this is a Channa avatar. It's a hidden incarnation, one category of avatar. But take it from me, which I will reveal it in the future sessions. Chaitanya Lila is 10,000 times more sweeter and more relishable than Krishna Lila also. So with this, I would like to just briefly explain the meaning of Panchatattva mantra. We basically take shelter of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and his principal associates by chanting this mantra. And whether we are qualified or not qualified, we get full result of the Hare Krishna Mahamantra chanting. I'll take two more questions and I'll close. How to identify a genuine and a capable spiritual guru, given that this is Kali Yuga, everyone is inflicted by Mayavad and personal agenda. Abhishek Mishra, thank you very much for your wonderful question. Please hold on to your question for session number 5. After Karma, I take a session called as Do I Need a Guide? In that, we in detail discuss the qualification of a guru. Who is a guru and how to identify a guru. And that is fully discussed there. But since you have asked, I'll just give you a brief answer. Vacho vegam manasah krodha vegam jivva vegam udarapastha vegam etan vegan yuvishaheta dhiraj sarvam apimam prithvim sashishyat. Upadeshamrit, shloka number 1. So a person who exhibits these 6 kind of controls, vacho vegam, one who has controlled the urge to speak. People speak so much nonsense. When they cannot speak, they write volumes of mundane nonsense. That is also speaking. However, their speaking is compared to the speaking of a frog, simply croaking, waiting for the Kala Sarp or the snake of time to come and eat them. So the best utilization of the power of speech is to speak Krishna Katha. Speak about Krishna, speak about the name, form, qualities, and pastimes of Krishna. So the best way to control the urge to speak is not to take Maun Vrata. Maun Vrata is also a waste of time because you can silence your power of speech, but how do you silence your mind? I've seen so many people who have taken Maun Vrata, but they take a slate or they take a mobile and they keep chatting throughout the day, what they want. If they want something, they'll type it out. And then, what is this? This is not Manvrita. Better you speak. But the best way to control the urge to speak is to speak Krishna Katha. So Vacho Vegam, Manasaha, one who has controlled the mind. How to control the mind? By chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Krodha, one who has controlled the urges of anger. Now, how can anger be controlled? There is generally a misconception where people say, Are tum to sadhu ho, you're a devotee, you should not become angry. If you ask this question to my students, they will tell you, oh, Prabhuji is one of the first persons to become angry. Whenever I see my students doing something which is not Krishna conscious or some kind of sentimental attachment to something which is actually material, I scold them left and right. I see one of my students, Sudha Mataji, she's smiling. She's got so many scoldings from me. You can ask her personally. So, devotee does not mean that he will not become angry. No. Anger is a spiritual emotion. Even Narsimhadev becomes angry. Even Krishna becomes angry. Everybody becomes angry. However, the principle here is, if somebody insults me, or if somebody talks bad about me, or if somebody puts me in a compromised situation, I will not become angry. However, if somebody blasphemes Krishna, or if somebody blasphemes a devotee of Krishna, then I will become angry as fire. So this is the way in which we can control our anger. Anger cannot be fully nullified. Hanuman never became angry in his whole life, but when he went to Lanka and when he saw Lord Ram being blasphemed and Mother Sita's position being compromised, he became so angry, he became so angry that supreme devotee, he became so angry that he burnt the whole Lanka. So, Vacho Vegam, Manasaha Krodha Vegam, Jivva Vegam, Udaropastha Vegam. One who has controlled the desire to eat, Jivva. This tongue is the most voracious thing in the whole universe. It just flaps and forces you to travel 70 miles to eat that stupid thing. So if somebody takes a vow that I will eat only Krishna Prasad, then their tongue automatically becomes controlled. No need to stop eating palak paneer. You want to eat palak paneer, you bring palak paneer, you cook it in a mood as a service to Krishna, offer it to Krishna first, and then you eat. So you're eating Krishna Prasad and your tongue becomes controlled. Whenever you'll go outside, you'll never enter any restaurant. I have never entered any restaurant in the last 4 years. Some people don't believe this, but it is a fact. So the Shastra says one who exhibits these 6 kinds of controls, one who has controlled the urge to speak, one who has controlled the urges of mind and the demands of the anger, one who has controlled the urge to eat, and the tongue, belly, and genitals, they are all in one straight line. So if somebody who has controlled the urge to eat, automatically the belly and the genitals will automatically get controlled. So the Shastra says one who can exhibit these 6 controls, the urge to speak, controlled urge to speak, who has controlled the mind, who has controlled the urge to, or the demands of anger, who has controlled the urge to eat and has consequently controlled the belly and genitals, the urges of the belly and genitals. Such a person, sarvam apimam prithvim sashishyat. Such a person is qualified to travel all over the planet and make disciples. So in brief, I have just told you the definition or the qualification criteria to become a guru. Okay, I think this has answered your question, Abhishek Mishra. And one last question and then we'll end for today. Lakshmi, no, but this question is privately asked to me, so I will respond privately. Public question, Vinita Dambal. In the real corporate world, comparison is necessary and cannot be avoided for one's progress or improvement. So is comparison really bad and needs to be shunned? Thank you for this wonderful question. What is corporate world? We have to first ask to ourselves. Is it the actual reality or artificial needs being presented with artificial urgency? I'm sorry, I'm blaspheming the corporate world like this because I'm not a novice here. I have spent around 6 to 7 years in corporate world, so I know it in and out. This whole Bangalore city is mad behind making solutions and softwares. My question to you, not just to you, Vinita Mataji, but to everybody. Can you eat this software when the corona comes, or if another pandemic comes and strikes you? Can you eat your software? No. These are artificial needs. The prosperity of the human society was much more when there were no industries. This industrialization has ruined the happiness, prosperity, and peace of mind of the human society in general. You read the entire Bhagavatam of the Bhagavad Gita, nowhere you'll find that there was an industry of making butter, or there was an industry of milk, or there was an industry of doing something. Still, people were prosperous. We read the descriptions of the attire and the dress and the house and the way of life of people when Krishna has appeared in Vrindavan. The people of Vrindavan are coming to meet Nand Maharaj. Description is given. When people are coming from Vrindavan to Mathura in the arena of Kamsa, description of them is given. So that is opulent lifestyle. So corporate life, although it's providing employment to people, however, I feel that it has created artificial necessities, and it has presented those necessities with an artificial sense of urgency. I beg to disagree and differ and make the statement that anybody who has 1 acre of land and 2 cows, that man is an independent man. He doesn't need anything else. He may work for 4 months in a year, grow sufficient crops for the entire year, get nourished by the milk of 2 cows for his entire family, and save rest of the 7 months of the year to associate with devotees, move around all the holy places and chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, read the Srimad Bhagavatam, attend the Mangal Aarti. This is life. And that is how life was even 50 years ago in our villages. But the false propaganda of television spoiled the minds of the simple, innocent villagers. Now there is so much land which is vacant all over this planet, but still people are starving. Why? Because they have stopped engaging in agriculture. And this is one of the propaganda which the Britishers had pushed. They wrote a letter back to the Queen saying that this country is so good at agriculture and so good at Vedic education that we can never rule over this country. Until and unless we make people disgusted with the Vedic education system by presenting to them false translations or non-orthodox translations of their own scriptures, and until and unless we discourage them in their agriculture and make them our slaves by giving them the stupid Western education, until and unless we do this, we cannot rule them. There is no thief in this country. There is no one who's hungry in this country, because agriculture was reigning in supreme. Still, I believe that if all of us have just 1 acre land and we have 2 cows, then there is no need of sitting in the so-called air-conditioned environment for 15 hours a day, still paying EMIs. So I believe the definition of corporate life has to be revisited first of all. What are we trying to serve? Whom are we trying to serve? What needs are we trying to address? And then, if the vision with which the corporate or this industrial revolution has come, or this corporate world has come, if that vision itself is a little bit not Krishna conscious or not favoring simple living and high thinking, then I think there is no need to further discuss the scope for progress or improvement in such a world where everything is based on a improper understanding. You see, these spiritual principles are not practiced in corporate. So therefore, if something is not spiritual, then that means it is material. And if something is material, that means it is evil. You have all kinds of politics happening in corporate. You have all kinds of crazy things happening in. Nobody appreciates values in corporate. Ethics are not appreciated. I used to feel ashamed when I used to fill my appraisal letter. I used to feel that I am glorifying myself. That is not at all good. And I used to speak so many stupid things, demand things from my colleagues and superiors, and I need this, I deserve this, I want this. That is an abominable thing. Only miserly people, they demand things. So I still believe that there is, if a corporate society can be made by the devotees, where it is based on principles of Krishna consciousness, where the HR rules are made according to that, where uh, a nice Krishna conscious work-life balance is there, then it is worth discussing that so-called progress or improvement. Otherwise, what progress or improvement we are talking about? I'm sorry, I'm talking very, very harsh, but this is my experience, and I'm speaking from experience. If we live in the society of pigs, then what will the pigs appreciate? Will they appreciate us having bath every day? I used to have a colleague who didn't have bath for 6 months, and he was appreciated in my office also. The pig eats stool. If I eat gajar ka halwa, will the pig appreciate me, or will the pig society appreciate me? No. So this society, which is a very mean society, not at all based on principles of simple living and high thinking, not at all based on um, principles of freedom. Now, why many people are quitting corporate life and are pursuing things like principles of freedom? You check on the social media, you'll find so many people who are just coming out of corporate and doing basic things like farming and teaching and writing books and things like that. I've seen high class people coming out of this corporate structure and taking to simple roles, probably speaking less paying roles, just to get some happiness. So I personally feel, having worked in various parts of the world, I can tell you the corporate structure in all parts of the world is not having the right foundation. So the definition of progress and definition of improvement is basically, to a large degree, slavery, to a large degree, force in these corporate institutions. So therefore, after around 4 or 5 years of my experience, I had concluded that it is better to not be in the top rank rather than be somewhere, somewhere safe in the middle and have enough time for your own things which you like to do. In my earlier years of corporate life, I was like a go-getter, but I was only burning my fingers with my Saturdays and Sundays being spent in office. But later on, when I became a little bit mature in my corporate life, I understood that there's no need to be the high performer every time. I need to chant Hare Krishna and I need to read the Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam because that is what gives me happiness. The extra 2%, 3% hike, which I'm struggling for, slogging for. Once actually this happened with me, I slogged for 6 months together to get a hike. And the difference between me and I got more hike than everybody, but the difference was 2%. And I don't want to say how much that 2% was. So I was asking myself, I spent 6 months in office like a crazy donkey just to get this few thousands. I would have rather done so many other things. So this is called professional maturity, which all of you have also got, I feel. So the definition of progress or improvement is flawed. And in my opinion, if you just follow the principle of Swadharman Acharanam Shaktya, if you just, in whichever profession you are, don't worry about what peer pressure or your peers are doing or what kind of pressure is coming on you. If you just keep giving your 100%, and then focus on things which are more sublime, more important, and which give you more happiness in your life, in the long run, you will be happier. This is my understanding. In the long run, you will be happier. I had some friends who actually somehow, due to the legacy understanding which they got from their parents or something, they did not believe in slogging. But I used to criticize at that time to those people because I was not a devotee of Krishna at that time. I would say, then why are you such a mediocre? Why don't you slog? Why don't you come in the weekends? Let's do it. Let's get it. Let's be on the top. Let's hit the top. But they used to say, no. See, we'll work for 8 hours. In those 8 hours, we'll not see our mobile, we'll not go on social media, we'll give our 100%. But after that, we'll go and do other things. And I used to criticize them. In the long run, they were more successful in their corporate life. So get rid of this so-called progress or improvement idea, because this is most of the time selfishly driven by the personal agendas and personal motivations of your so-called manager and so-called business unit or parallel in which you are working in. Don't worry so much about it. Just follow the Swadharman Acharanam Shaktya Vidharma Cha Nivartanam Daivala Labdhena Santosha Atmavid Charanachanam. Focus on more important things in life, given your 100%, of course, but focus on other important things, and Krishna will take care of the rest. At least this much I can assure you with my experience, that if you follow this principle of Bhagavatam, which is a universal principle which people have followed for ages and ages together, in the long run, you will always be in in the long run, you'll always profit from this eternal principle, rather than trying to spike things up and trying to fall into comparison and do things. If you give your 100%, that's the best which you can do. Other than that, whatever comparison which you do is only misery being self-inflicted on your own mind and on your own family, I feel. So with this, I would like to end today's discussion. Thank you very much for your constant attention and time. And we still have so many people sticking around. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Please do your homework, and please come on next Tuesday to have a detailed question and answer. And happy Ekadashi. 1 round chanted on Ekadashi is equal to 1,000 rounds. Just a tip.